Money on my mind, gotta hustle and grind. Financial literacy always on my mind. I'm stacking knowledge, no time to waste. Gotta invest smart, gotta keep up the pace. I'm reading books, learning all the tricks, studying the market, making calculated picks.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Reckless Ray DeNiro, and we are back at it again for another episode of Bag Talk. This one's kind of an important one because we're going to break down how I look at what we call money, what we call exchanging, and the pivots that I've started making. I began the transition back in 2013 when I first got into Bitcoin, and then it became calcified, solidified in 2016. And we're gonna go through my thought process on that with this Bag Talk episode. So if you've got any questions about what money is, why everything continues to get more expensive, and most importantly, what we can do to combat that, because nobody likes paying more for stuff. Like the same apple you bought last year costs more this year, and so on and so forth. You can just get less stuff. It's just not a good place to be in, and we're going to talk about it. So what I'd ask for you to do on the way in as we get this episode started is to go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't already. If you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And while doing that, do not forget to touch that bell notification and turn all on, so that way you guys get notified as soon as these premieres happen. We're on the road to 500 subs, which is my goal for this year. I think it's an attainable goal. It doesn't seem like an unattainable goal. We're flirting with 400. We're right around there. The last thing that I would ask, the last form of free support, is go ahead and share the content. Go ahead and share this live out, or not this live, this premiere. We're not doing lives yet, but once we get to 500, we got some stuff planned. So, so we're gonna go ahead and jump right on into it. So first and foremost, this episode is about I just got like random stuff. Oh, yeah, shout out. Oh, wait a second. When I got Wolfpack members that are doing big stuff, we've got to shout them out. So, like, if you guys are looking for a vehicle, now this is not paid promotion. This is free promotion because they helped me get my car. I'm going to have some content in regards to that. Now, while I did not buy through them, they did help me piece together the deal and looked over the deal that I had for the car that I got and verified that I was getting an uncannily great deal. So we got to give some love, especially when the Wolfpack shows up to try, and actually not even try, shows up and adds value without asking. Like I didn't have to ask for that. Like I didn't know the resources that I had within the community. And here we are. So if you are looking for a vehicle, tap in with Motor AC. That's www.motor, MOTOR.AC. They are the plug. They'll ship you a car to the end of your driveway. I almost got a car shipped to the end of my driveway. That's one of my goals. My next vehicle will probably be getting shipped to the end of my driveway via Motor AC. So big shout outs to them for helping me piece together a deal. I'm actually going to do an episode on that, but we will be showing continuous graciousness and love moving forward, especially for our community members. Like there's no reason that we shouldn't be looking out for each other if given the opportunity. And that was a big move, especially considering they didn't sell me anything. So shout outs to Motor AC. Give them a look-see. As we're moving forward, stuff is crazy. The money is crazy. The money's crazy out here. It is insane. They've completely disincentivized saving money. Like, why would you have money in the bank? Like, what is the benefit at this point? 4.5% interest that's not keeping up with inflation so that you can buy less stuff every year because you get to see some change show up in your bank that is less spendable than the year before. At a certain point, you got to look and go, something is going on. Something's happening. Something has fundamentally changed that we are now noticing in our faces, and everybody wants to blame who's in charge. It was Biden's fault. It was Trump's fault. Maybe Obama did it. I don't know. Actually, we do know. We know exactly what happened. Why are we always in war? Why is the national deficit constantly going up? Why don't people talk about the national deficit? Why are we so financially illiterate that we don't understand the game that's being played at the top? Why are we trying to avoid taxes at the expense of generating more income? Because everything's more expensive. And I mean, once they get you in a certain realm of serfdom, you become attached to it. It's like a Stockholm syndrome, if you would. You start to love your poverty. You start to love being at the bottom. You love your victim token because it's quote unquote not your fault. And even when it's not, it's still your responsibility because you have to live your life. And they get you comfortable there, making no moves to leave. And then people get real upset because they're like, well, you know, you go work at, what was it? What was the American dream? You work at a job for 30 years, then you get the house somewhere along the way with a white picket fence and a family. I don't see too many white picket fences or whole families anymore. I didn't grow up seeing a lot of whole families. I didn't have one. What I saw was things getting exponentially more expensive. People doing what they needed to do to kind of shelter the children from seeing it so that their kids grew up in a world where they didn't actually see what was going on financially with their parents. I, for one, was a very intuitive child, and I saw it. I experienced it. And I decided that I wasn't gonna be a part of that. Like, something was off. Something never set right. Something never made sense to me about that whole apparatus. Go to school, go to college, acquire some debt, get a job, and then work ceaselessly until you're 65, which is now like what, 75. By the time you actually get to retire, it's probably more like 85. Whatever it is, that's about 2 years before you're off this earth. You work till then and then just get out of the way, go off into that pasture, and they put you to sleep. And that never sat right with me. Like, I never, one of the things that my mom did for me that was pretty amazing was she gave me experiences. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, but she made sure that I was in sports with kids that were not of the same socioeconomic circumstance that our family was in. My grandmother moved out to the suburbs to attain the white picket fence. And, you know, I got to experience that sometimes. My formative years, we lived in the hood at my great grandmother's house, which was not in a great neighborhood. But you know, you got to see the gamut. And the one thing that I always took from that were there were people that didn't live like us. And I didn't understand what was going on with them. And then, like, as you're growing up, you're seeing that even the people who are a little bit ahead of you, they're stressed. Like, they're stressed. There was like constantly that underpinning of like, this could all go away. Like, we gotta fight really hard to keep what we've got because this could all be gone tomorrow. And that's what I've always dialed in on. Like, what is that looming shadow that's in the background that we're all constantly running away from? What is that? Why is it there? Does it have to be there? Is that just something that, like, everyone has the metaphorical beast in the night, as though we are hunter-gatherers living in the forests and we have to worry about predatory animals actually eating us while we're trying to eat them while they're trying to eat us? And it from a psychological perspective, it's always perplexed me. I always wonder if that's a game that we play in our minds because we have 5,000 plus years of data that puts us living in the forest, being hunter-gatherers, feast or famine, hunting, you eat what you kill, working in small groups, versus this 9 to 5 wage slave, somebody's in control of your time that may or may not care about you. that may or may not actually care about your well-being. You are a resource. You're a number. You're a cog. You're a barcode if you go to jail. If you're not in jail, you're just whatever employee number 7237. I mean, it's not actually too much different, honestly. Like, no one cares if you're there or not. Your existence is to serve as far as those who you are serving are concerned. And we just live like this, and everybody's constantly scared of that shadow that's just around the corner. That one thing that's just around the corner, that one domino that falls, that hits another domino, that hits another domino, that ends up with you back in our natural state, which is outside under a bridge or outside in the forest adjacent to a highway. Back to having to hunt and gather. And I've been fixated with it since I was probably about 10. And I distinctly remember this because it was the time that I missed a meal. And I talk about this all the time. They're like, why are you like this? Why are you so money motivated? Why are you so into financial literacy? Like, where did this come from? I was like, well, I missed a meal when I wasn't poor. And I understand people be like, oh, well, like, that's not the struggle. And you're right. It's not. It's a level of struggle, but it's something that I'd already been seeing this shadow. And then I got touched. I looked into the abyss because my parents, both working class. Mother was a police officer at the time. Stepfather at the time was a firefighter. And they both went to work one day and forgot to get my TV dinner because I grew up as a latchkey kid. So, like, I had a key to the house from about, 9 forward, 8 forward, something like that. Was responsible for basically getting myself out of the house and getting myself back into the house before and after school because they were both working. No one was home. And there was one time where no one was home and there was also no food. And me being 10, I don't have a way to procure food. But like, they just hadn't gotten to it. And it wasn't that they didn't have the money. It was just that they were working so much that like we lived in this, at this point, we weren't living in the hood. We were living in suburbia, like a hood adjacent suburbia. It wasn't like great suburbia, but it was hood adjacent. It was a nice neighborhood. And there was no food. So I had to sit there just starving. And then like when they got home, like I'm obviously upset. I'm hangry at this point and a child. So like I'm having a tantrum and so on and so forth. But I never forgot it. I never forgot that. I was like, like as soon as I could start working 5 years later at 15, I started working. I was like, cool, I'll feed myself. Like, because for me, like, I'm a burn me once person. Like, I'm not the type of person you're going to furlough more than one time. I'm not the person that you're going to lower their salary more than one time. I'm not the person that you're going to lay off more than one time. Because those lessons set for me. I'm not the person that's going to go hungry more than one time. Unless it's voluntary, unless it's because I'm fasting. And I never forgot that. And that's been a key point in my existence that got reckless Ray dinero from little dinero to big dinero where I'm at now. That's been a key point because I do not experience horribly traumatic things at the expense of someone else more than once if I'm capable. And if I do have to experience more than once, I'm on the way to resolving the problem. You're not going to talk crazy to me more than once. You're not going to starve me more than once. Which brings me to the topic of the video, which is decentering the dollar, because where we're at with dollars is rampant deflation, debasement of our currency. And I understand people say, oh, well, yeah, it's because Trump and the tariffs. Tariffs do not cause inflation. There's multiple data points, multiple studies that show that. We showed it the last Trump presidency. We can't blame him for that specifically. Inflation comes from one place, Capitol Hill. They create inflation. Every time they say, we're going to go give umpteen billion dollars to Ukraine.
6:38 p.m.
Oh, quiet yourself. Every time they say that, they go and what they do is they don't actually have money to give them. They print money. And as they print money, it makes all the money that's already in existence, which is the money in your bank account, the money in your credit card, the money in your debit card, the money in your pocket, worth less. When we give billions of dollars to Israel every year, but we're not supposed to talk about reparations. They print that money. They make that money up, which means that we still pay for it because it's also collected in tax dollars. We have almost a $3 trillion deficit, meaning they're $3 trillion short every year on Capitol Hill. But they still carry out all the things that they want to do, which means that they still spend the money. That's the equivalent of you coming up short on your money every month and just putting it on a credit card and then having to deal with that. Except for you don't have the ability to just go to the computer and be like, well, I'm just going to give myself a couple more $1,000s to cover this. You don't. You just go into crippling debt and then you have to file bankruptcy, or you end up back in our natural state in the woods adjacent to the highway under a bridge with a sign that says anything helps, and hunting and fishing for food and setting fires, hoping that you don't set yourself on fire. We don't have the ability to print money. Actually, printing money, by definition, per our Constitution, is illegal. It's illegal if you do it, but they do it at your expense. And so I talk about decentering the dollar, and people think I'm crazy when I say that. And I'm like, you're crazy to play a game that is blatantly rigged, where they're playing the game in your face, where they make you poorer in your face. That's crazy to me. Because there's only one person doing this, and they give you all the excuses in the world so that you fight amongst each other, so that you don't understand the game. You have certain communities where they're just now getting to the point where everybody wants to talk about how much you make and what makes you a high value man. And it's all tied back to salary. Well, I'm already in shape. I managed to get lucky in the genetic draw. I'm over 6 foot. The last thing that I talk about, the last thing that really matters to me in any of the conversations that matter to me, is salary, because that is the bare minimum. Like, that's the bare minimum of what you got to do. You got to go to work to keep a roof over your head. Everybody's got to do that. Oh, well, I went and salaried harder than you. Okay. But you're still living paycheck to paycheck. Your net worth is still negative or zero. And zero, actually, at this point, ain't even that bad. If you find somebody who's actually zeroed out where they're not worth negative dollars, they're at least worth as much as a homeless person, because homeless people are base level zero. It's worth nothing. Most of you are worth negative because you have those fancy schmancy degrees that AI took your job. So now you're a waiter or a barista with $100,000 in debt. Couldn't imagine living like that. That's crazy. But you did it. Like, you followed that old ideology, what was marketed to us, not realizing that schools are now for profit. Even though they say they're nonprofit, they're for profit. Otherwise, why would you raise your prices to get more government funding? Like, obviously they want money. Like, they're not doing anyone a solid. They'll put you $300,000 in debt. Why? Because it feeds the system. They need us working. And they want you working until you're about 75, 80. They don't want you done at 65. They don't want you done at 59. They want you working indefinitely. That's the reason nothing seems to work. The 401k system is not working. You're seeing all these old boomers that did what they were supposed to do and kept kicking the can down the road. Well, the hens have come home to roost, and now they got to go put the fries in the bag or go greet us at Walmart. But I'm crazy when I talk about decentering the dollar. And the reason we need to decenter the dollar is because it's a sinking ship. If your focus, if your denomination is in dollars, then you believe the illusion, even though the illusion keeps somehow metaphorically getting just out of reach. I almost get you. I'm almost there. I can see you. And you never seem to catch up. You just don't. It's a very gamified slave system, if you will. And like, I used to not like that terminology because I go to work. Ain't nobody trying to be like, yo, I'm a slave. Especially not nobody that look like me. Like, that's crazy. But it's the truth. It's a gamified slave system. And because most people aren't actually free. Most of you can't stay at home. You couldn't if you wanted to. Your lifestyle doesn't allow for it. They want you to buy that new car. I just bought a new car. I love it. And funny thing, my insurance actually went down. I'm pretty excited about it. A little bit, just like a hair. But I'm like, hey, dude, every dollar helps, because when you're decentering the dollar, I'm like, that's a dollar that can go somewhere that actually makes money, that goes up in value, that's actually worth something. That's a $4 that can go into Bitcoin a month. Like, I'll take it. They want you to get the house. They want you to have 14-9 kids. They want you to do all the things because it locks you into that collar that's around your neck. And I realize that darkness, that shadow that's creeping around the corner, that's what that is. That's actually what that is. That's a self-imposed collar that goes around. They want you to have those big $10,000 chains like the rappers got, those collars. They want you tied in. They want you locked into that system. They want you locked into that life. Because then, by the time you're ready to start looking at getting out, that collar's pretty tight. You got a few kids, you can't invest like I invest. You got a family, you got a house, you got a car payment, high insurance. You guys are paying $700 a car note. You can't not go to work, slave. You can pick where you go to work, but you're going. You are going because you have to. You have no other option. You're not going to give the car. What are people going to say if you give up your $700 a month car? If you don't have that Beamer outside, if you don't have that Lexus, if you don't have that status, are you going to drive a Yugo that's paid for $2,000 that'll run and get you to work? A little bit chilly because it takes forever to heat up or cool down, so you chilly and sweaty depending on the season. You're not going to do that. You're not going to live with your friends. You got to have your own house and pay for that whole thing yourself. By yourself. And most of you don't even do that. You're extracting resources from your parents. You're actually like stealing from them who stole from you to get your lifestyle to look cool. You're not gonna have a roommate. You're not gonna house hack to get ahead. That's not cool. What are people gonna think? They're gonna think about you. That ego, noose. Ego's a collar on you. Can't even win. Can't even win at this game. So what do? You sit there, you complain, you want somebody to pay off your student loans that you signed the paperwork for that don't ever go away because you're smart, because you have your degree. Smarter than me who doesn't have a degree, but I'm worth more than you are. How, Sway? But I'm crazy for talking about decentering the dollar. Inflation is an invisible tax levied upon everyone within the country, including the people who are here illegally. The only win that they got is they're sending our money, which is worth more where they're from, back to where they're from. They're actually leveraging. They're actually doing financial arbitrage, which is pretty smart if you think about it. You go from somewhere that ain't worth nothing, go to where the money's still worth something, even though that castle's crumbling, and then you take that money and send it back to where you were from, and now you're rich. They hack the system. Don't like it, but it's true. It's really grunt level natural state financial arbitrage. Get into a country that's still got money that's worth something by any means necessary, find employment, work, and send that money straight out there to where you came from. And then hopefully you make enough in the time that you're there before you get caught and deported. And then you go back home and when you get back home, you're good. Those people are getting deported. And the ones that aren't coming back, the reason they're not coming back is because they're rich where they're from, probably. They've sent enough money back to their family to where they're good. Hey, we get the house built, we get this built, we get this taken care of, we put the fence up to protect this stuff, we got the little mini castle. Yeah, cool. I'm getting deported next week. Bet. I'm coming home. Cool. We straight. I'm gonna be good for a while. We can figure it out from here. We've got ourselves a foundation. What we have to do here is start working on that foundation and start understanding what's being done to all of us. Not some of us, not all of us. This isn't something that the white man's doing to the black man. There's no teams on here. It's either you have assets or you don't. So those of us who have assets, we're benefiting. Those of us who have pivoted and changed our focus have taken the orange pill, understand Bitcoin. Everything that I do is built around acquiring more Bitcoin. Have won. My retirement's set. I've got a whole Bitcoin already. I'm good. I'll sit on that. Working on getting another one. And we're going to be active with that. And then we're going to use that to make more money to buy more Bitcoin. Take care of our income problem. We have high yield. The focus isn't the dollars. Those dollars to me are just a means of exchange. They're not the be all end all. People want to have the most dollars. I want to have the most Bitcoin. And as we move forward and as the dollar continues to get debased, those who do not hold assets, your lives will get worse. Those of you who are saving money in the bank thinking you're doing something, your lives will get worse. Those of you who are investing in the S&P, your lives will remain stagnant. You're the new person who's running in place. Just so you know, the S&P 500, I'm just going to go get an index. I'm going to do index funds. Nah. You're running in place now. Congratulations, because that's how bad stuff has gotten. Like, you can't even do that anymore. Like, they've taken away all easy options off the table. Off. You will be in place. You will be stagnant if you're not getting a 30% raise every year. You're trapped. You will be exactly where you are. You might be able to stay exactly at the lifestyle, but that shadow, you're going to see it. You're going to see it more than I am, because that shadow it's retreating from me now. Ever since I took the dive and started understanding Bitcoin, started actually doing research on what money is, what inflation is, how inflation happens, the Cantillon effect, Creature from Jekyll Island, time value of money. Started learning about the stuff that's important that the wealthy people understand. Not necessarily doing what they do to avoid taxes, taking all the side quests and not moving forward. It's cool. You avoided taxes. Great. How much did your net worth go up this year? None? Cool. Bet. It's awesome. Went in the opposite direction? Great. Good for you. But here we are. Like, I mean, all roads still lead to Rome. Like, you're in the game no matter what. Other countries have started decentering the dollar. You've got BRICS nations. They're trading amongst themselves. They don't want to use our money. The only way we get to bring back a working class, which a thriving middle class, is to not have the US dollar be the standard, be the world reserve currency any longer. That's the drawback of having the world reserve currency. It allows you to do a bunch of stuff. Grow your middle class, not the play. That's not one of the things you get to do. That's actually one of the costs, is it hollows out your middle class. We are actively taking steps to where they're trying to back that off, but like, now we have AI. Like, you can't even go move boxes anymore. Amazon's getting ready to get rid of 600,000 of you, because the robots can do it. I mean, obviously, like, more efficient. You know why? Because people want cheap stuff. I want cheap stuff. Everybody wants cheap stuff. You know what makes stuff expensive? The fact that none of us will work for free, because then that is actually carte blanche slavery, and no one's signing up for that. The robots will do it. But what are you going to do now? Because if all you're capable of doing is moving boxes, then that's kind of problematic for your life, because you don't have a skill that's valuable. And as AI improves and as robotics improve, Why does anyone have to do anything? Once people aren't doing anything, why does anything cost anything? You see how we've reached the top of this monetary game? And the reason being is at a certain point, the robots can build themselves. Why do the robots cost money now? We're at the end of a monetary system. This is where everything collapses historically every time, because a monetary system is not supposed to be a be all end all. It's not. But since we're here, we have to play this game for now. That doesn't mean that I think that everything revolves around money. There's money. And like, no, we are literally at what causes the end of civilizations. And the reason being is like, it's not people like me. It's the people at the top. Because I understand that this, from an evolutionary standpoint, isn't supposed to be the end. Because if no human capital goes into making anything, then why do we pay for anything? What's our purpose at that point? What are we supposed to be doing? Because at that point, we don't have to do anything. We don't need the doctors. Between the AI and the robots, they can handle that. They're already making robot surgeons that got steadier hands than the best doctors we've got. We don't need to move boxes. We don't need to build product. We don't even need to build cars. We don't need to make cars with manufacturing flaws, because there's no reason to make a car that you got to get a new one every freaking year. There's no reason to make cars that fail. And the AI is going to know that. And the robots will be able to build that. Just build perfect vehicles where you just get one and you can just keep it forever, and it's going to be dope. And like, maybe you take it back through to get it upgraded with whatever you want in it. But why do you pay for it at that point? Why? The AI will be able to make chips. They'll be able to innovate on the technology. The robots will be able to carry out the process. What are we needed for? What do we need to pay for anything for? No one's asking the important questions like, what are we supposed to do? Like, what are we supposed to do? Because we're abutting, we're rapidly, because technology only speeds up, it doesn't slow down. Abundantly hurling towards a state where we have to start asking those questions. And so, the decentering the dollar, it's like, do you want to play a game where you're constantly behind and the shadow man's right around the corner and just like waiting to jump out and get you and like make you homeless so that way you're a cave person again? I don't. So I look at other means. And I mean, decentering the dollar could be anything. Gold bugs, right idea. I don't think it's portable. I don't think it's usable. I've never seen a transaction in gold go down ever in my life. I've never seen a car dealership say, yo, we'll take a bar of gold for this F-150. I have seen car dealerships where I live say that they'll take Bitcoin for this brand new F-150. Just saying, like, but right idea, because gold holds value. I mean, it's inconvenient. You got to go back to the place that you bought it to sell it back to them at whatever rate they're gonna get you, just like Robinhood and other platforms do in the spread. But you bought gold for 2,000, it's worth 4,000 now. I mean, the spread hits worth it, like whatever. It's just inconvenient to me. I don't think it's something of the future. It's something that's dated, but it's holding value. It has a value. But we are in a state to where those who are sitting in dollars, you are the dinosaurs and the inflation's the comet, and it's getting ready to smack you in the face and just wipe you out. Like, there's no other way to say it. You better get into something. They forced it to where people have to gamble in the markets now. That's a forced thing because of what they're doing. Like, you're either on this side or you're on that side. And if you're on that side, you're going to be a peasant. You're going to be complaining about SNAP benefits getting turned off next month in days if the government hasn't figured out what they're doing. You're going to be getting laid off and replaced by robots. You're going to end up in a state to where you're kind of useless. That's just the reality of it. So it's like, you got to figure it out. You got to figure it out. And people rage at innovation, rage at what's going on. And it's like, this is coming for all of us. There are means that you can get set up for those of us who aren't actively getting replaced by AI. We've still got some time. Like, but you've got to get positioned, because it's coming. It's going to be here. It's going to get you. That shadow is coming quick, along with inflation, because our government has decided that they don't want to seek approval of the citizenry to do anything. So they'll just print money and do whatever they want. That's the reason you want a currency that has no base value. Dollars, when people say that Bitcoin's internet money, I'm like, I'd rather have internet money than dollars. Dollars, gun money, and the guns don't even work no more. Dollars are worth nothing. They're not worth anything aside from the believability that the United States will pay its debts. And we are not capable of paying those debts. Talk about it every day on the news. They keep printing. If we could pay the debts, we wouldn't be having a $3 trillion deficit. $3 trillion is a lot of money. That's a lot of zeros. The reason Doge didn't work was because they realized that they weren't going to be able to save money out of their problem. They're going to have to print. The reason a lot of these parts of the government won't be coming back now that they've let this go on for as long as it has, the shutdown go on as long as it has, those are the Doge cuts. It wasn't in your face, we're firing you, we decided we couldn't do that, but guess what? You guys shut down the government, then they can get rid of you, because those people, regardless of what team you're on, don't care. They don't care. We are out of money. Whether you believe it or not, I started talking about this 8 years ago. Now this stuff's coming to pass, and people are like, who have been on panels or seen shows that I put up, seen videos, or talked to me about it. Oh, you were right. Yeah, I know. Math is math. Math, like financial math, is actually very simple. And you can only run so far in one direction before you run out of length of rope. And we have run as far as we can with unmitigated government doing whatever they want and not being able to balance checkbook. We're at the end of the rope. The money's gone. We're out of money. So here we are. It's going. And the thing is, there's always winners and losers. Winners will win. Losers will lose. Don't be a loser, especially not in this. At this game, kind of important to not lose. A reckoning is coming for our financial system. And is it the end of America and we're going to just be out in the streets and whatever? And like, well, you might. I will catch a flight to somewhere that's not here. Like I can start over. But most likely it will just be a harrowing transition. Certain benefits aren't going to be there. Social Security probably not existent. I'm not factoring it in. It's not a part of my three-legged stool. My stool is get wealthy and don't need to rely on anyone but yourself. Figure it out. Figure out your finances by any means necessary. As we're moving forward, though, it's going to be hard. There's going to be things that are going to have to be underfunded, change in the way that we fund things, stuff that we're not going to do. And unfortunately, what it looks like is it doesn't look like they're going to stop giving money to other countries. And that needs to be something that we need to go to the ballot box and vote these people out, get these lobbies that are within our country that are forcing money out of our country, that are influencing the way that this country runs, and get them out. Like, you're either about America or you're out. You shouldn't be involved in our politics. You shouldn't have a say in how we do things here. Any more than we should be saying how people do stuff everywhere else, because we're not doing too well. America needs some time to find herself. That's my opinion. Like, I think everybody needs to shut up about not their country. If it's not your country, just shut up. Just shut up. If it's not your country, don't expect us to come save you. If it's not our country, if we're not getting anything out of it, no. Because nobody's coming over here to try to help us. So no one's coming to save anyone. That needs to be the new motto. It's like, you got to start fixing stuff yourself. And if you get a hand, awesome. Take it. But the expectation of somebody come fix this mess that I've made, like this country has made a mess, and it's time to get it back in alignment. And in the process of doing that, we're going to have to tighten that belt up. We're going to have to do some sit-ups. For those of you who are not in shape, you understand what I'm saying. It's going to burn for a few weeks. But on the other side of that, you look better, people like you, you don't smell as bad, you're healthier. And we're gonna have to go through that. And what we're doing over here on Future Financial Strategies is I'm documenting my way of navigating through this transition, through these tumultuous times, and what I'm doing to keep myself afloat. And hopefully it helps some of you figure out what your strategy needs to be to keep yourself afloat. But one of those pivotal things is decentering the dollar. The valuation of things in dollars gives an image that stuff is fine when it is very much not. Start doing the valuations on how your portfolios are doing in gold or Bitcoin. Personally, both. If you don't want to feel absolutely horrible, the gold one helps. If you really want to know what's really going on, start checking how your stocks, how your amazing portfolios are doing if valued in Bitcoin. It's not good. And I'm going to leave it at that. So, like I was saying, I thank you guys for tapping in, going on this ride with me, being here for these episodes. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing when I get to tap in with you guys in the comments, talk to you guys about the videos, and just generally this is kind of like financial therapy for me when I do these episodes. So thank you for that. It allows me to bounce ideas off and make tweaks to my personal financial situation as I'm talking through. We have multiple episodes where I'm like, that would actually work better this way. And I make the adjustment for myself personally. This is not financial advice. This is financial entertainment and hopefully a financial conversation starter. Till next week, don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe on the way out. This has been another wonderful episode of Bag Talk. And till next week, it's your boy Reckless Ray Dinero, and I'm out. Peace.
Money on my mind, yeah. Focus, got no time for games, nah. I don't play it, I'm all about that financial literacy. Investing in my future, building generational wealth. Dollar bills, they be calling my name, but I ain't chasing fame, I'm chasing change. Learn the game, now I'm playing it smart. Putting my money to work, it's an art. I'm stacking paper, building my own empire. No more living check to check, I'm getting higher. Investing in stocks, real estate, and more. Gotta secure the bag, that's what I came for.